All right, hello everyone, and welcome back. It's that time of the week. It's time for some more LSR. Today it's Group 2, and we arrive at Portugal for round 8. And we're not too far away from the end of the season. If I'm not mistaken, I think this is the penultimate round. I'm just going to check that. Yes, it is. This is the penultimate round of the season. It's currently STR Tano and SSL Mango in the battle for this season's championship. Mango on 86 points and STR Tano on 100 points. I'm just going to quickly fact check that just to make sure I've got everything right for you guys. And yeah, that is dead right. So there's 14 points between them. SL Mango currently has a qualifying ban. And that means he will be starting at the back of the grid today. And we're just going to find someone who started their lap first. I think it is Zayek who is out first by a long way up against Elian. And he is coming through this left-hander now up the hill into this right-hander. And it's going to be a big championship battle between Tano and Mango, as it looks like Zayek just about invalidates his lap time. But joined with me in the commentary box today is actually James from LFR, obviously the league that LSR has partnered their socials with. So welcome, first of all. And how are you feeling coming into the penultimate round of the Grand Prix with the championship battle between a Mercedes and a Red Bull on our hands?
Hello and welcome to everyone. I'm looking really forward to it. As you've said, we've got Mango and Tano fighting for that championship fight, with Mango being at the back, as you've said, with that quali ban. So it is looking to be a really good one with the right track.
Yeah, and I definitely think it will be exciting. Tano does have some worries coming into this weekend, as I think he was talking into the Discord that he'll be lucky not to spin this race, and that might be a bit of a lack of confidence, and he really needs it with just 2 rounds to go, and he could really capitalise off of this weekend if he can get a good qualifying and start towards the front compared to Mango, who will be starting towards the back. That could really help him out in his championship battle. So about 4 minutes into the session now, Husky with a 1:19.4. Decent little time from the AlphaTauri, as Flea on the medium compound tyres sets a 19.5. Viprez is able to get into the 118s with an 18.5 here. And who do you think is going to do well in this session? I must ask you. And who do you think we're going to be seeing at the top? As I think you did do a bit of commentating here for Group 2 before.
Yeah, I want to say Tano might be the best shout for pole.
Yeah, I definitely think he is one of the fastest drivers in the qualifying. And we could see people like Notzer Vapor and possibly Zayek. He's a bit of a one-lap wonder around here, as he's not the fastest around a racetrack, as he does struggle a bit with consistency, but over the 1-lap pace, he is absolutely rapid. Alexis Beast is able to set a 1:17.7 in his Aston Martin on the soft tires. It's quite a bit faster than everybody else so far. Let's try and find someone who's currently on a lap. It looks like STR Tano was on a lap, but I think he has abandoned it, so this might be a cool down, and he might be going for another lap. So James, would you like to take us through a lap on board with Tano around here at Portugal?
Yeah. Let me get him up. There we go. He's on the mediums, obviously. Coming into turn 1. He's going to try and not hit that yellow curb. He's just going to keep it inside of turn 2 into turn 3. It's nicely done that corner. Not going to put power on too much into that corner. He's done that perfectly on DRS. Down into turn 6, I believe.
I think that's the turn 5 hairpin there, and now we come into turn 6.
Yeah, I don't know turns, but into turn 8, I don't know this corner. He's gonna lose the rear. He's done it very slowly, but very nice and neat, which is very nice into this now very twisty, turny part of the section. Into trying to think of a turn.
Don't worry about them. We can just call them left and right-handers. Oh, it looks like he's all over with the rear there.
Wanted.
Yeah, that's not the best exit from him. That's caused him to spin the car, and that does mean that he is going to have to come back into pit lane for a fresh set of tyres, as I'm sure his tyres will be quite warm at the end of that push lap. So it doesn't look like he'll be setting a proper time on the medium compound of tyres. Looks like Not to Vapor has been able to set a 17.6, 1/10 faster than Alexis Beast. And he's put himself in a decent position there. Vacant Haddock was on a lap, but he hasn't validated. Zayek, as we ride on board with him, comes across the line and set a 17.3. And I was talking about his one-lap pace. He set quite a quick lap there, and that's put him on provisional pole position. But quite a few people haven't set a lap time. And also, I'm getting quite a few comments in the chat saying that there could be light rain at the end of the race. And how do you think that could spice things up?
Ooh, if it's gonna be there, like Jeff always says, it could get very interesting because this track is very difficult in those changing conditions with whether it's the right time. Because being on this track, it's never fun. Sometimes.
Yeah, and I think it's also really hard to deal with the traction, not only in the dry, but in the wet as well. Or I should say, not only in the wet, but in the dry is as well. So it could be very, very tricky towards the end of the race if the rain does actually come out. But like I said, I think Zaya could be getting pole here. I've seen him do quite well in Portugal before. I think it was in Formula 4 in LFR, where he was in the top 3 in qualifying, if I'm not mistaken. So he is quite comfortable around this Portuguese circuit. But if we look here, Husky on 4-lap old tyres. I think he forgot to do his practice and is getting some in now while he can. Maybe putting on a heavy fuel load to get some extra laps in. Looks like Vacant was on a lap, but possibly could have been blocked by Santo. But I think Santo is also on a lap, but he's going quite slowly compared to Vacant, and that's caused Santo to actually hold up Vacant. So that's causing Vacant a little bit of trouble. Elian Bayan, the reigning champion, comes across the line on medium compound tyres and sets a 17.5. And that is an absolutely rapid time on the mediums, as his teammate Electric Envy goes 1/10 quicker on the soft tyres. And that's pretty decent from Ferrari. Do you think Elian, with that absolutely rapid time on the mediums, do you think he's actually going to stick with those mediums and qualify in a higher up position but start on the mediums?
It's looking very likely now, because if he wants to, he has those soft tyres ready waiting if he does fall back. But right now, I don't think he might.
Yeah, definitely anything can change. A lot of drivers, 2 drivers haven't even set a lap time yet, and a lot of drivers still to set some of their final lap times as well. So I think Elian will fall down quite a few positions, but that medium time could still put him up there, as a lot of drivers struggling to get into the 17s, such as Husky, Viperize, Vacant, Santo and Worry Cloud, all not getting into the 1-minute 17s. Looks like Acid Masters is currently on a lap time. Looks like he set a purple sector 2 in his Red Bull, and it looks like he's actually running a Sergio Perez helmet with the Mexican flag. He's now coming into the final turn now to end off his lap time. And let's see where this lap time actually puts him, as it looks like a lot of drivers are currently out on flying laps. And across the line, he's going to be able to get into the 17s, puts him P6 with a 17 at 0.8. And that's a decent time from him, just 5/10 off of Zayek's provisional pole position lap. And it looks like Zayek is currently on an out lap, currently in the final sector. And let's ride through his lap. Hopefully we get to see the full lap time now. So let's get a little track guide here with Zayek on board, reaching a bit of traffic there, going through the final turn. But we now come on to the main pit straight with the DRS wide open in this Haas car, and a long run down to turn 1. We're going to do a light bit of braking here, go down to just 6 gear, carry a lot of speed going into there, but then we come into the very slow turn 3. You want to be going down to about 3rd or 2nd gear, as Zayek is using here. You come up into turn 4, a very tricky traction zone, and it looks like Zayek's got it just wrong, and that's caused him to slide the car a bit. That is going to lose him a little bit of time. He now comes into turn 5 as Not Sir Vapor sets the fast lap of the Grand Prix, a little bit wide, or not the Grand Prix, sorry, of the qualifying session, a little bit wide from Zaya coming out of turn 5. That's going to cost him a little bit of time. Thankfully, didn't invalidate his lap time. Coming through turn 8, though, he really struggled with the traction, and it looks like he's decided to abandon his lap time. So Zaya not being able to get his lap time, and we're approaching the later stages of the session. So do you think he's going to be able to get another lap time in and hopefully competitive enough to compete with Not Sir Vapor, who's now just dipped into this 1 minute 16s?
It's a very, very quick lap from Not Sir Vapor, but then his teammate down in 14th, I think he's doing a lap, I'm not 100% sure, but we'll have to wait and see.
Yeah, I think you'd be dead right with that. Tano hasn't got a proper lap in, and I think he's either starting one now or finishing it off, because he went very wide there at the penultimate turn. I think this is a proper lap as he goes a nice and tight line through the final turn. What kind of time is it going to be? It's a 17.8. He's currently 9/10 off of pole position here, and it's not looking good for Tano in a qualifying session where he really needs to perform and capitalize up against Mango, as he does have a 14-point lead, but he wants to be extending that as much as possible going into the final round. And if Tano can score at 12 points over Mango, he will win the championship this round, and that is if Tano wins the race, for example. And let me do my maths here. If Tano wins the race and Mango gets anything below 4th position, then Tano will have won the championship. Or no, I think if Tano wins the race, Mango has to get a podium, otherwise it will be over. So a lot on the line here for Mango, who will be starting at the back of the grid, so he's going to have to push nice and hard today. Looks like Alexis Beast has invalidated his lap time. And it looks like a lot of drivers are now in the pit lane and getting ready to set another lap time. So we've only seen a 17.8 here from Tano. He's gone 9/10 slower than his teammate on provisional pole, who's 4/10 in the lead, to be fair to him. Do you think Tano can get a lap in at the end of the session to really get himself up there and help himself in that championship battle?
Yeah, he's going to be able to just get that one lap in, one out lap, one really fast lap. He's going to have to go on a massive charge. No traffic whatsoever. He might see if his teammate can give him the slipstream down the main straight. We don't know yet.
It's entirely possible. And but I don't know if that will happen, because Not Sir Vapor is here, and I think he'll be here to win as well. He set that provisional pole time, and he'll only be looking to build on it, and we'll have to see if that's exactly what he does. It looks like Acid Masters is now coming across the line to start his one of his final lap times of the session, as we only have under 4 minutes left to go. We come into turn 1, we go down to 5th gear here, so not carrying as much speed as he maybe would have liked. Coming into turn 3, hitting that apex quite nicely. A lot of drivers using 2nd gear through there, which is definitely very risky, as we saw with Zaya getting a lot of wheel spin and going through turn 4 as well. Astmaster actually 4/10 up on his time going through the first sector. If he can keep this up, he could be looking towards the front of the grid, but he needs to do well through the middle and final sector. We now come into turn 8 and up the hill. He needs good traction out of here, and it looks like he gets it using 4th gear off of that exit. We now come into turn 9, and tricky right-hander of turn 10, where we could see a lot of differing lines. And we once again go down a hill and back up the hill for turn 11, and we come into the final turns. Turn 12, where he hits the apex quite nicely. He gets a good exit out of there using 3rd gear. Coming into turn 13, he hits that apex really nicely. That's going to gain him quite a bit of time. And we now come into the final turn of turn 14. What kind of time is it going to be here from Acid Masters? It's pretty decent in the first sector. Did he carry it through the lap? It looks like he did. That's a 17.1, and that is going to put him P2 in this session. That is going to be one of his final laps, if not his final lap of the session. And that could be the end of his session, so we won't be getting pole position. But how would you like to take us through Not Sir Vapor, who's currently on his outlap, now coming into the final 2 turns and getting ready to possibly set a pole position time in this qualifying session?
Well then, Not So Vapor will get the slipstream, maybe from Electric Envy, who's also on another lap, as he opens the DRS very wide as Electric goes and does the fastest lap anyway, so he's going to have to go push even harder. He's going to go down to 5th gear into turn 1. He's just going to get inside the track limits there, down into 3rd gear, which is very, very nice with all that. Up and he's lost the traction there. He's put power on too early, I believe. So that's really going to hurt him. He might have front wing damage. Doesn't
I think
seem
you'd definitely
to.
be right.
It doesn't seem like he's got any front wing damage from that, so he's very lucky for that, but not so lucky on the lap.
Yeah, I don't think he's going to get away with that and have enough time to set another lap time, whereas Zayak is currently on a lap. As we saw, a lot of drivers actually struggling to turn 4, so he's another driver to struggle with the traction. But it looks like Aston Masters, not very spatially aware, actually gets in front of Zayak and on the racing line. That caused Zayak to brake early there because he didn't want to lose his wheel, and that could really hurt his lap time and possibly take away pole position from Zayak. We'll have to see as he comes across the line what kind of time is it going to be. It's a 17.2, and who knows, maybe those 4/10 could have been got there if Aston Masters didn't get into the way. I think the stewards are definitely going to have a good long look at that one. Elian invalidated his time. He sets a 16.5, so Elian, if he did not invalidate his lap time, would have gotten pole position in this session, but would have, could have, should have. He's not going to get that pole position. Alexis Beast coming through turn 13 and now into the final turn. Can he possibly challenge for pole position? I think he is currently on a cooldown lap. Tano has actually spun in the middle sector, and that means he won't be challenging for pole position. So for round 8 here at Portugal, for Group 2, Electric Envy will be getting pole position with a 1 minute 16.8 in that Ferrari car. That's been a great session from him, and a little bit out of nowhere because he wasn't really anywhere in the session. So what do you think of that? Only 2 drivers getting into the 16s.
That's incredible, as Lee also goes ahead of Tano as well. So that's put him down to 9th position, which is not where he would have wanted to be after that spin on his final lap. But they're very quick times, I believe.
Yeah, definitely some very quick times for Group 2 there. And Tano really struggling at this track. And I think the reason he is, I'm not sure if I read it correctly in the Discord, but I think this is one of his first races on an actual racing wheel instead of using controller as he has done for most of the season. So he's trying to get used to that racing wheel, how it feels going around the track, and that's really hurt him in the session. So he's qualifying down in P9 and Mango in P15. And this could have been a good point scoring opportunity for Tano up against Mango, but qualifying P9 is really not going to help him at all. Electric Envy starts on pole position with Not Sir Vapor right alongside him on the front row, just a 10th and a half behind. Aston Masters manages to grab P3 for Red Bull with Zayak alongside him on the second row. On the third row we have Elian and Danny Stillers, Alexis Beast and Flea on the fourth, Tano and Viperez on the fifth, Vacant and Husky on the sixth, Santo and Worried Cloud on the seventh, and Mango will be starting from the back of the grid because of his qualifying ban. So coming into this race, who do you think is going to be on the podium or possibly win this race after seeing the pace in qualifying?
I think this is going to be a very close one, and with rain to come, it's going anyone's way, I will say. But I want to say Tano could be in for a shot of it, Not So Vapor and Electric, and maybe Mango.
And I think I'd have to agree with you there. Mango, he did it before. He went from all the way from the back of the grid to the front. And it looks like Zayak isn't too happy that you didn't pick him for the race win. We'll have to
Yeah,
see
it's,
Zayek if he can get up there, and hopefully he can, but he seems to lack a little bit of consistency in the race. But we'll have to see. He's qualifying P4, a decent qualifying position for himself here at Portugal, a track that I'm fairly sure he does like. But yeah, I think Electric Envy has a great chance. Not to Vapor also has a great chance. Almost won at America, but because of a glitch in the game, the win was taken away from him and given to Mango, who won that American Grand Prix. So Not to Vapor didn't get to win that race. Maybe he can redeem himself here at Portugal and get that race win. But we'll have to see. Aston Masters could be a shout as well. I'm pretty sure he is a reserve in this league and could be looking to get himself a decent result in this Grand Prix, as that would show that maybe he is deserving of a full-time seat. But we'll have to see. Could be quite a battle in the midfield, as I'm fairly sure a lot of the drivers did actually qualify with a 1:17, so we could see a lot of close racing throughout the field, with Mango pushing as hard as he can to try and get through the field. But we'll have to see, as Electric MB now coming through the penultimate turn and getting ready to line his Scarlet Ferrari on the grid for tonight's race, and it's definitely going to be an exciting one. Group 2 always produces, and I'm glad James is alongside me for another night of racing here in LSR, and I guess we are getting ready. Any last words you'd like to say before we get this race underway?
I've just noticed Tano's gone off in Sector 3 as well, just as he's getting ready. So it's, don't know if he's getting the pressure to him or it was just one of those little mistakes. But let's have a good one.
Yeah, I think that might be him getting used to the pedals instead of the little triggers on his controller, or possibly some professional tyre heating tactics. We'll have to see if he can get a good start off of the line. SL Mango on the medium compounded tyre, and that could really help him out in this race towards the end. But we are now getting ready for this race start, as we have 5 red lights. They're gone and we're away. What kind of start is it for our pole man, Electric Envy, up against Not So Vapor coming down into turn 1. It's a decent start from Not So Vapor. Can he pull alongside? Coming into turn 1, Electric Envy cuts across him there, and that actually causes Not So Vapor to spin. It looks like the Red Bull of Acid Masters has been caught up in that. Another driver has crashed into Acid Masters. It's a lot of wing damage, a lot of carnage in the background. It looks like Alexis Beast has taken advantage of the situation. So is Danny Stiller's Zayek moving up plenty of positions. Elian holding P5 at the moment. It looks like Tano is diving down his inside down into turn 5. Can Vacant behind try and get a better exit than Elian. It looks like they're still side by side, Elian and Tano, now going down into turn 7 and turn 8. It looks like Elian with the inside line. Can he hold this coming up the hill into turn 8? Who is going to get the better exit out of there? It looks like Tano just loses the rear end slightly there, but he's able to keep it intact. He's now being attacked from SL Mango, moved all the way from the back of the grid, and is now P7 battling it out with Tano for P6 in this race. It's been a great start from him, and he's on medium compound tyres. It looks like Elian decided to stick with the mediums, and he actually managed to qualify P5 with that, something that I did not notice, but he is on the mediums, and he is the lead medium runner up in P5. Mango trying to find a way past STR Thanos. We're having quite a bit of lag in this lobby. It looks like Mango, it might just be Mango, I'm not too sure. It looks like Alexis Beast has spun off the final turn there, and has he got wing damage from that? I'm not too sure, but he's lost quite a bit of time. Electric Envy, through all that chaos, I think he might have cut across Not So Vapor there and could get a post-race penalty, but he has got the lead of this Portuguese Grand Prix with Zayek MP2 in that Haskar. He could be going for the win in this race, and maybe he'll be one to watch. Danny Stillers has really capitalised off of that race start. He's moved himself all the way from P6 to P3 now. Mango, though, all the way from P15 to P5. It's been a great start from him. He is lagging quite a bit, though. Hopefully that fixes itself out as the race goes on. But Alexis Beast, he did so well, got himself up into P4, but sadly had that unfortunate spin coming out of the final turn. Tano is losing quite a bit of time to Mango ahead of him now, and looks like he's really struggling for pace on his wheel. Not Sir Vapor, who started from the front row of the grid, is now battling out for P8 with Viperize. Viperize is going to try and fight back into this turn 12. It looks like Not Sir Vapor has the outside line, which then turns the inside line for this turn 13. And it looks like Not Sir Vapor has got that move done. It looks like Tano has actually spun off of the exit of turn 13. That's lost him quite a bit of time to the drivers he was battling. And it looks like he's really struggling to get up to grips with his wheel. And this could really help out Mango in the championship. He's just overtaken Elian on the DRS straight without DRS being enabled. So it just looks like he might be running a bit of a lower downforce setup, but he is now going to be chasing Danny Stillers for P3 and a podium position in this race, and he's gaining quite a lot of points on Tano as it stands. So wow, what did you think of that race start? Is there anyone who really stood out to you there? As it looks like we actually have an Alfa Romeo Santo P spinning at turn 4, just like Not Sir Vapor did on his last qualifying lap. But yeah, what is there anyone who really stood out in that race start?
Mango, just last to fourth in 3 laps, and is making moves right now, and is getting closer to Danny, which is very, very good for him. But wow, what a start. As we have an AlphaTauri spinning around, ooh, coming back on the track just a little bit weirdly there, in a weird position.
Yeah, it looks like Husky struggling to get underway.
As Tano spun again. He's not having the best race at all now. It's gone from P9 down to last position.
Yeah, and you can see his anger there as he's taking it out on his wheel. And if I'm not mistaken, have I just seen him switch back to controller? We'll be able to see with the movements here. We'll see going through this middle sector now. Has he gotten so angry that he's actually decided to switch back to the controller? He might have, and I think he is still on the racing wheel. So he's obviously getting angry, but he's got to just try his best and start getting used to the wheel as quick as possible, because usually going from a controller to a racing wheel is really going to help you out in the long run. Looks like Zayek is currently in the DRS of Electric Envy ahead of him, while Mango is now up into the DRS of Danny Stillers and looking to get past. He is currently the lead medium runner as he goes a bit wide coming into turn 10 there, and looks like Elian actually goes through him because the lag is so bad. So it looks like whenever somebody gets close to Mango, they just go through him, and then now he's ahead of Elian. Some really bad lag here from Mango, and he's been struggling with it all season, and that's why he's gotten 3 qualifying bans so far, if I'm not mistaken. And I'm not too sure how he hasn't gotten a race ban yet. But he's now going to try and make the move on Danny Stillers, as Zayek is making the move on Electric Envy for the lead of this Grand Prix. Zayek has the outside line for turn 3, but he's not fully alongside. Now he is at a later stage of the turn. Now coming up the hill into turn 4 is Electric Envy going to squeeze him to the outside. Zayek really pushing Electric Envy off of the track there. He has the inside line for turn 5. Can he dive down in his Haskar up against the Ferrari? Electric tries to go for the switchback, but is a bit passive. Going through there, doesn't get an amazing exit compared to Zayek, and Zayek has now moved himself into the lead of this Grand Prix, with Mango moving himself up into P3. So both drivers making nice moves and nice progress at this stage of the Grand Prix. It looks like a lot of people have actually had to box, as it looks like the Alfa Romeo of Santo P really struggling at this Portuguese circuit, as I think that's the second time he has spun in this Grand Prix. But you can see a lot of drivers in the back from P11 to P14 have all had to make an unscheduled pit stop, and a lot of them going onto the hard tires. You can see Santo P with the overheated tires. He's going to spin again, and looks like he's really struggling. I think he is now a lap down, as he's just passed by the Mercedes of Not Sir Vapor. SL Mango sets a fast lap of the Grand Prix. He's now pushing to try and catch up to Electric Envy ahead. Elian is able to make the move on Danny Stillers and moves himself up into P4. The 2 medium runners cutting their way through the field, as it looks like Santo P has now come into pit lane and retired from the session, so I won't be bringing out any safety car. But Yeah, it looks like Zayek gets himself up into the lead. Now do you think he could be a shout for the win here at Portugal?
I will say he's defended this lap really well. He's put his car in the right position, but will he be able to keep it? I hope he does, because he's really good. But I'm rooting for him a little bit now.
There you go, Zayek could be going for the win here. If I'm not mistaken, possibly going to be his first win in Group 2 here in LSR. Let's see if he's able to get it. He's defending up against Electric Envy, and Mango has now dragged himself into the battle. He's into the DRS of Electric Envy ahead of him, and the Red Bull in a bit of a Ferrari sandwich. But Electric Envy with the power of the DRS now, is he going to be looking for a move down to turn 1? Zayek's red light is now flashing. That does mean he is below 10% ERS. This could be easy pickings for Electric Envy, who thinks about going down the inside into turn 1, but he can't commit to that move. Isn't it fully alongside, and so does not break. He basically backs out on the move, as he does not want to cause an incident on lap 7, because he does have a decent chance of winning this race. But he's now going to be under pressure from SL Mango behind in that Red Bull. But he is on the mediums, but the mediums at this stage of the Grand Prix are going to start to phase in and possibly get a little bit faster than the softs around lap 9 or so. It is a one-stop strategy around this circuit. Soft to medium, or medium to soft, depending on what tyre compound you start on. And that's why anyone who's made an unscheduled stop is really going to struggle. Some people being on hard, some people boxing for mediums. Mango trying to profit off of Electric Envy's bad exit out of turn 10. Just can't find his way past. So Electric Envy maintains P2 for now. But we're now, as it looks like, Viperize in the Alpine has spun his car at turn 8, a very tricky traction zone, and that's lost him a little bit of time to the drivers that he's battling against, which I think was Alexis Beast. Electric Envy, is he going to be looking for a move on Zayek now into turn 1? Zayek's red light is once again flashing. Worry Cloud has retired from the session. That's a spin at turn 11. Is that going to bring out the safety car? I don't think it is. The safety car is not out yet. SL Mango very close to the back of Electric Envy, trying to go for a bit of a different line to get a better exit out of turn 4 and on the run down in turn 5, using plenty of his overtake, trying to find a way past. Electric Envy defends the inside. Looks like Mango has broke a bit too late. He's hit into the back of Electric Envy, and that is actually caused Electric Envy to fire past Zayek. Zayek is trying to fight back now. He wants to maintain this lead. He's really pushing Electric Envy wide. It looks like everybody's lagging. Husky spun on the exit of turn 8. Zayek is able to maintain the lead. No, he hasn't. I'm not sure what's going on. I'm not sure if it's my Wi-Fi or not. It looks like Zayek makes contact with Electric Envy, and Zayek is in the lead of the race, but he has got a 3-second time penalty because of Electric Envy flying past him since SL Mango rear-ended him coming into turn 5, and I'm really not too sure what happened in that sequence of turns. But it looks like Electric Envy went wide, Mango overtook him, Electric Envy's back in P2. James, hopefully you're having a bit of a better signal. How about you take over from here?
I'm having the exact same signal as you. I'm confused who's in front right now. Electric Envy, though, Mango, shall I say, into turn 4 or 5, just overcooked the brakes. I don't know how, but let's see what they do here, as they all have DRS. Let's see what's going to happen. He's going to brake a lot better this time around, but as we see Electric just lagging a little bit. He's got an X on my screen now.
Yeah, it looks like a lot of drivers are getting X's, and it looks like they're actually disconnected, but they're not. They're just having a very bad day with the Wi-Fi. Possibly a storm going over their houses at this time, but hopefully not. It's really affecting the racing here, because I'm not sure what happened at all. I think what happened, Mango obviously broke too late, missed his braking point. That caused him to rear-end Electric Envy, who flew past Zayek. Zayek somehow got himself a warning, which is a bit interesting from the game. and that gave him a 3-second time penalty. Hopefully he can get that removed so long as he doesn't get any more warnings this race, as it looks like Electric Envy doesn't have the best exit out there, but that's because he's now coming into pit lane for a very early stop. Is that because he has wing damage? We'll have to see as the Ferrari pit crew getting new tyres ready. Is there a new front wing ready? As it looks like Not Sir Vapor and Danny Stillers are following him in, and there's no new front wing, so they're going onto a fresh set of soft compound tyres. So these drivers that are boxing now are going for the 2-stop in this race. Apart from Danny Stillers, he's gone onto the mediums, and he will be looking for a bit of an aggressive undercut. Zayek now being overtaken by Mango. Mango once again goes deep into turn 5. Zayek tries to go for the switchback, doesn't make it work, and we just missed that. I think once again Mango broke a bit too late into turn 5 and somehow turned it into a move. And I think Zayek might have predicted it, as he did try to go for that switchback. But Mango on the mediums now. He is probably faster than the soft runners at this stage of the race, if I had to guess, as Zayek struggling a little bit for pace. And that 3-second time penalty is really going to hurt him. We'll have to see for the next round if he can get that penalty removed. But it looks like Elian is currently in P3 on the medium compound tyres, so it looks like Mango and Elian doing really well for themselves on mediums and able to stick with the soft tyre runners. And the delta is usually massive at this track, so they're doing really well for themselves to stay with the soft tyre runners. Looks like Flea and Alexis having a nice little battle between themselves, going through turn 5 and now turn 7 and 8. And it looks like Fleet has gotten the better of the Aston Martin, himself up at the P8, but it looks like doesn't get the best exit out there with the 7-lap old tyres compared to Alexis B's fresh mediums. He's now going to try and go around the outside at turn 10, gives plenty of space on the inside, and I think those two drivers had very different lines. They were a bit confused on how much space to leave, but Alexis B's is able to make his way past. Zayek has now lost the DRS to Mango ahead of him, and that is going to cost him some lap time, but I'm sure he is going to come into pit lane quite soon. So what do you think of the strategy? Electric Envy and Not So Vapor, the two front row starters, deciding to go for the 2-stop strategy.
It is going to be a very interesting one for them, because they will have to obviously pit again, but they will be lower down. But if they can get a safety car or even a VSC just in time for the mediums to then last, it will be perfect for them. As Zayek's going to pit now let's find out what tyres Zayek will pit as Bayan goes up into second place behind Mango.
Yeah, and I think it's going to be interesting to see what he goes on to. If I had to guess, it'd probably be the medium compound tyres for the one-stop strategy, but he's actually going on to the soft compound tyres, and it looks like Zayek has just told me his strategy in the live chat. He is going to be taking softs until the rain comes, so maybe Electric Envy and Not So Vapor have the right idea. Maybe they're thinking the exact same thing, and they're taking those soft compound tyres until the rain comes. When is the rain going to hit? We have no idea, but it must be sooner rather than later. We could see rain for the final 10 laps. We'll have to see. Electric Envy does get out 2.9 seconds ahead of Zayek, but does have 2-lap older soft compound tyres. And we'll have to see if Zayek can really make that deficit work and catch up the gap to Electric Envy ahead. He's going to be under pressure from Not So Vapor. It looks like Vacant, who was in P3, still is, but he spun, and that's cost him a little bit of time. He's still one of the only people who hasn't boxed yet, along with Elian and SL Mango. We could even be taking those medium tyres until the rain hits, and that would be an interesting strategy and would gain them a lot of time on the guys behind. Electric Envy has now caught up to Vacant after his spin at turn 8, and he'll be looking to get past. He has 10-lap pressure soft compound tyres. It should be a nice and easy move for an Electric Envy. We'll have to see though. Does Vacant come into pit lane? Yes, he does. So it looks like Vacant is picking now to box for fresh tyres. Be interesting to see what he goes on to. Will he go on to the softs until the rain, or is he not going to risk it and try go for mediums until possibly the end of the race? It looks like he actually goes on to hard tyres. That's a very interesting strategy from Vacant here. That's probably not the best strategy, to be honest. Electric Envy goes a little bit wider on the exit of turn 4, gives himself a 3-second time penalty. And if we look at the penalties up and down the grid, Electric Envy 3 seconds, Zayak 3 seconds, Not Vapor has 6 seconds, Danny Stiller's, Vacant and Viperize all having 3 seconds each. And the top two don't have 3-second time penalties. Alexis Beast now looking for a move on Vipres coming into turn 1. And on his medium compound tires is able to get that move done. So he gets himself up into P8. And it looks like Viperize and Alexis Beast have been having a great old ding-dong battle between each other for almost this entire race. But what do you think? I'm going to ask you again about the strategy, because it could be the main talking point. The main talking point after this race. Do you think Elian and Mango could possibly take these medium tires to the end if the rain hits a little earlier?
Yeah, I think if they keep this pace up for the rest of the race, they will be absolutely perfect for the rain to come in. I want to say it might come in with about 15 laps. So that's my prediction, as we also see Lee retire from the race, which very sad, but also brings up Tano up to 10th place.
And there you go, Tano down in P10 on hard compound tires, which he's obviously going to take until the rain hits. But this has really not been his day. Just trying to familiarize himself with a racing wheel rather than a controller. Obviously two very different input devices, and you can obviously see why the learning curve is so steep. We're getting a bit of a build-up of dark clouds now, and the track is getting a little bit darker. We could see the rain hit quite soon, like you're predicting, with 15 laps to go, and I think it's entirely possible, as you can see, if you look up in the sky, a lot of black clouds going towards the track. So the rain could definitely hit sooner or later. We'll have to see, though. Right now, Not So Vapor just hanging in the DRS of Zayak ahead of him. And Zayak using quite a bit of his DRS. He's now got his red light flashing, and he has had his red light flashing for quite a few laps now. And Not So Vapor has used this to his advantage, just staying within the DRS and gaining a little bit of time. Both of them pushing nice and hard to try and catch up to Electric Envy ahead of him. Viperize on the back of Alexis Beast. These guys have been battling it out for most of the race now, and we haven't seen much of it, but it does look like it's been quite a nice battle between these two. But it looks like Viperize has now lost a little bit of time to Alexis Beast on those medium compound tires. Looks like an AlphaTauri has spun in the middle sector. I think that's Husky, who's currently a lap down, and Tano has now been lapped by Mango, his championship rival, and we're seeing a bit of a repeat of real life when Max Verstappen lapped Lewis Hamilton. Not too sure when that race was, but I just remember it happening, and a bit of a moment there for Hamilton fans.
But very big moment for us.
Yeah, I can imagine. Probably not the best feeling, and I'm sure it's not the best feeling for Tano either, as he's now getting lapped by Elian Bayan. He's been doing an absolutely amazing job this race. He's in P2, he's on the mediums, he's doing everything right, and Elian, the reigning champion, we haven't seen much of him this season. He hasn't been in contention for the championship, but he could get a nice result for himself in the closing stages of the season. Looks like Zayak is now catching up quite a bit to Electric Envy ahead of him. He's caught up by about 3/10 from one lap ago, if I'm not mistaken, and Tano makes a mistake in the middle sector. That's caused him to retire from the session. That brings out the full course safety car, and this has played into the medium runners' hands absolutely perfectly. They are now going to come in for the soft compound tires, which they will be taking until the rain hits. So this is a bit of a blessing for Mango and Elian. If there are any doubts about those mediums getting to the rain period, they don't have to worry anymore. So how do you think this is going to affect the race? Because they're going to have fresher tires than the drivers behind them.
Mango's coming in for the softs, I can confirm as well. But wow, that's really turned the race on its head by that one little mistake from Tano, which is really annoying for him. But Mango could go and score the whole 25 points if he can stay ahead, as Electric, Zayek and Not So Vapor do not pit for fresher softs.
And I think
But
that's definitely
Zayek
fair enough.
is ahead of Bayon and Not So Vapor just about.
Yeah, Not So Vapor had to take some evasive action there to get ahead of Elian, but that's really a shame for Elian, as it looks like Electric Envy, Zayek and Not So Vapor did just enough work to jump him in the safety car period, but Elian now has 6 lap pressure tyres than Electric Envy and Not So Vapor, and 4 lap pressure tyres than Zayek, so Zayek is on the freshest tyres out of those 3, Electric Envy, Zayek and Not So Vapor, so that would definitely give him an advantage. But Mango has had some mad pace this race, moving from P15 to P1 before everyone made their stop, so that's quite impressive. And Electric Envy has run quite a nice race as well. Started on the softs, gone to the softs now, had a good idea with the strategy. And Zayak, who's giving us constant updates on this race, he's a bit of a Ted Kravis here in LSR Group 2, and he is telling us that the rain is coming in just 5 minutes' time. So maybe if Mango can get 2 laps of racing, possibly get in a fastest lap, he could be looking at the full 26 points, which would be an absolutely massive gain over Tano, who had an opportunity to win the championship at this round. And I think he's made the switch to wheel at the absolute worst time. Maybe if he had left it for just a few more weeks and possibly started it on the new game, he could have won this championship. But Mango is looking good for this championship now, even after his quali ban, moving all the way up from P15 to P1, and absolutely mad pace compared to everyone else.
I'm also going to say this one thing. I don't know if Husky's trying to do much, but he's just passed everyone. But he's just sitting very comfortably right behind the safety car. He's gonna. He wants to get by, but the game doesn't allow you, sadly. So
yeah, he's a lap down, and he was trying to possibly get himself a lap up, but a lot of people who tried that. Sorry?
Now Mango has to deal with this, and it's not going to help him.
Yeah, it's definitely not. He's going to be held up behind Husky for the race start, but hopefully it shouldn't affect him too much once it's green flag running. Husky should be ghosted. But yeah, lap cars are not allowed to overtake the safety car. If he overtakes the safety car, he will be disqualified from the session. And if he accidentally hits the safety car, I think he gets a 10-second time penalty. So I don't think... I think his race is over, which is a shame to see. Although he will get 10 points if he just stays where he is now, a lap down, because there's only 10 runners left in this race. So we obviously have Mango in the lead of this race. And another thing to add is time penalties. Mango has 0, so he's almost guaranteed to win this race so long as he doesn't make any big mistakes. The only challenger he could have is Elian Bayon, currently down in P5, though he's got 3 cars between himself and Elian, so maybe you can pull out a bit of a gap while the DRS is disabled. You can see the clouds are getting really dark, and that is making the track quite dark as well. But Electric Envy, Zayak both have 3-second time penalties, so they're basically going to be battling it out for the last position on the podium. So and Not So Vapor with 6 seconds of time penalties, he could be looking quite bad. But I think I've just seen it there. The first drops of rain are now falling on the circuit, and the safety car is staying out this long. And oh my God, he's actually done it. Husky has gotten out ahead of the safety car. It is absolute scenes down in the AlphaTauri garage. I've never seen a lap car actually overtake the safety car. But this absolute mad lad has done it, and he is going to be able to unlap himself. That is absolutely legendary for his race, and I'm sure he's going to be absolutely booming about that. But the rain is now falling, and the top drivers are going to have to decide, are they going to come in now or are they going to come in later? And this has really hurt Elian, who boxed for softs for absolutely nothing, because they are going to do him no good now, and his chances of a win aren't in the best position, because he's now going to have to double stack behind his teammate Electric Envy. But let's see, do you think the rain is going to be picking up enough for intermediates in the next 20 seconds before the safety car comes in?
Well, looking at Husky right now, who as safety car comes in this lap, so even if you do box, you're gonna lose a lot more time as Husky pits as well. So I will keep you updated on Husky, as he seems to be going on to the inters.
So there you go. I think he's going for a bit of a bolder strategy, since he is almost a lap down. He's going to go on to the inters nice and early, but if we ride on board with a Mango, the track conditions are not quite there. Usually you see a bit of a glaze over the track to make it look nice and wet, but it hasn't gotten to that stage yet. So it looks like these drivers are going to get a little bit of running on these soft tyres, but Zayek has decided to go for a bold strategy. He's come into pit lane nice and early for the intermediate compound of tyres. Was that the right strategy? We'll have to see. Not to Vapor on the back of Electric Envy, not close enough for a move down to turn 1. Vacant defending from Danny Stillers, and it looks like he's defended that position nicely. He's maintained P5 in this race. Danny Stillers looking to the outside for turn 3, can't make that work. Alexis tries to dive down the inside in turn 3. This has left him vulnerable to Viperez behind him. P8, can he make a move coming into turn 5? It does not look like it. Is a bit too far back. The rain is now starting to come down quite heavily. Danny Stillers and Vacant both go wide going through turn 5. That's also a bit of time to the top 4, but you can see the raindrops on the car are now staying, and the cars are getting wet. It's only a matter of time till the track itself gets wet, and we could see it happening sooner rather than later. As you can see, the rain is really starting to come down now. It's only a matter of time before the intermediates come out. It's either going to be next lap or the lap after. I don't think anyone will be coming in this lap. It's definitely a bit too risky. As Zayek, who went for that risk, it's not going to work out, although you can now see the raindrops are staying on the track. Is it time for intermediates just yet? I don't think it is, but it's very, very close. Mango does not come into pit lane, but the Ferrari of Electric Envy is now boxing for the intermediate compound of tyres. He gets himself a 5-second time penalty for speeding in the pit lane. So does Alexis Beast, but I don't think this is the right time, although it could be. I think actually I've changed my mind now. This could be the perfect time to box for intermediate compound of tyres, but the 5-second time penalty that Electric Envy has got himself for speeding in the pit lane could really hurt his final finish position in this race. We'll have to see if he can get a massive undercut on the guys ahead. If you can see that bit of wet glaze on the track now, it's definitely there. It's time for the intermediate compound of tyres. Mango, Not to Vapor, Elian, Vacant all have to now come into pit lane for the intermediate. Zayek, bold strategy, did not work out for him. He's now battling with Alexis Beast for P7 in this race. He's quite a bit behind Electric Envy, 5 or almost 6 seconds behind to be exact. Zayek getting past Alexis Beast there. It just was a bit too trigger happy and went on to the intermediates 1 lap too soon. Mango has already pulled out a gap on Not to Vapor, but he's now going to come into pit lane for some fresh intermediate compound of tyres. But is he going to lose time to Electric Envy, who picked the absolutely perfect lap to box for the intermediate compound of tyres? And he's really been on point with the strategy here today. But Mango now comes into pit lane. Is he going to get a penalty for speeding? No, he is not. He hits his braking point properly. Not to Vapor coming into pit lane, spins the car with these wet conditions. He's now going to come back into pit lane. I think he might have wing damage because of that though, but that's a big spin for Not to Vapor. That's going to lose him quite a bit of time. Ellie and Bayern continuing on with the soft compound tyres. So does Vacant on the hards. Estelle Mango is now on the intermediate compound of tyres. We still have 11 laps of racing to go. Electric Envy is not going to be close to Estelle Mango at all. It's absolutely no competition for Mango, who is miles ahead of anyone. Electric Envy is able to jump Not to Vapor in the pit lane after that spin on entry. It looks like the McLaren of Vacant with those hards in these intermediate conditions has spun the car at turn 4, really struggling with the traction. Zaya gets himself another time penalty, and As you can see, there are only 2 drivers on the slick tyres. And do you think this is the right strategy from Elian to try and push it one lap further with the softs?
Not one bit. It does not look good for those soft compound drivers, as Mango is catching very quickly. As I will say, Electric had the right idea. He's lost about 10 seconds, 8 seconds to Mango after that first lap. Well, that first great big of rain came in. But we'll have to wait and see where, as Bayern still stays out.
Bayern going for a bit of an interesting strategy here, to say the least. He's staying out another lap on softs, and maybe he can think for the next 10 laps he can hold off Mango, who is on the right tyres for these conditions. I don't think that is possible. He has managed to keep it on the track for the past 2 laps, so fair play to him for that, but I don't think he's going to be able to hold that 16-second gap. It looks big now, but with the intermediates being so much faster than the slicks, it's really not looking good for him at this stage. If we have a quick look at the time penalties here, Electric Envy has gotten himself quite a few. He's now up to 11 seconds of time penalties, and if Not Sir Vapor can hang within 5 seconds of Electric Envy, he could be looking at a podium in this race, and I'm sure he'd be very happy with that. Zayek boxed 1 lap too early for the intermediate compound of tyres, and is now quite a bit behind Not Sir Vapor and Electric Envy. So Not Sir Vapor, who started on the front row, P2, alongside Electric Envy. Electric Envy cutting across him at turn 1, but Not Sir Vapor is now actually able to recover and get himself onto the podium. In the matter of just 1 lap, Mango has caught up to Elian by about 7 seconds, if I'm not mistaken. It's an absolutely massive gain. Elian finally sees that, decides this is not going to work, this is not the right strategy. He's now going to come into pit lane. Ferrari pit crew have the intermediate compound tyres ready for him. He wanted to try and go for that win and go full send because he has not got any championship problems to worry about. So he tried to go for a bit of a riskier strategy. Didn't work out for him. He's going to filter out just behind Not Sir Vapor. Is he going to come out ahead of Danny Stillers, though? And it looks like possibly no. It looks like Danny Stillers gets out ahead. Zayek taking evasive action off of the track. And it looks like Elian is going to dive down the inside into turn 3. And still lagging all over the place into turn 4 now. Zayek pushes him slightly wide, but leaves enough room. And the thing is, Elian has 0 seconds of time penalty, so he is still in P2 at this stage of the race. Zayek trying to fight back around the outside at turn 5, gets a better exit out of there, but gives Elian a bit of a bump. He now looks to the outside for turn 7, backs out of that move, knows that that's not going to pay off too well for him, but dives down the inside turn 8. Zayek has so much more pace in the wet, and he's just trying to find a way past the Ferrari. But is it going to be turn 10? No, it doesn't look like. He's worried that Elian won't leave him the space there. He's going to wait a few more turns to make this move, but he's getting quite impatient now. He just wants to move himself up this position because he knows he's losing time to Not Sir Vapor and Danny Stillers ahead of him. We now come into turn 12 and turn 13. Elian with a bit of a defensive line, and Zayek just cannot find a way past. But this has been an exciting race so far, with changeable conditions and a safety car that really changed up the strategy. So how have you been enjoying this race so far and all this action?
I'm loving it as Elian also goes, like, is he going to try and make a move down into turn 1? No, he's going to stay behind as Husky gets another penalty, and vaporize another penalty as well, so that's really going to hurt them. As Zayek's just waiting for that perfect moment to get by, but it'll have those penalties to remind him as well. But this is getting very, very interesting.
I definitely have to agree with you there. Zayek still has not found a way past Elian here, although it doesn't matter too much since Zayek has 6 seconds of penalties, whereas Elian has kept it within the track limits, hasn't broke too late coming into the pit lane, and he has got himself 0 seconds of time penalties and is looking good for P2 in this race after quite a quiet season after winning the championship in Season 1. He's doing pretty decently for himself, and just ending off the season with a nice result. And he still has one more round to go, so could he get back-to-back podiums? We'll have to see the intervals now coming back to us. It does not look like Electric Envy is catching Mango by any stretch of the imagination. So Mango, once again, we've seen it many, many times before. Mango absolutely dominates, along with Tano, otherwise known as Yuki, in the earlier stages of the season. Although getting used to that wheel is going to be a bit of a learning curve. But he does have 2 weeks until the next round, so that could be his opportunity to fight back against Mango. But he's going to need some serious points gains if things stay as they are. So, but Mango and Tano, there's been talks about moving them up to Div 1 because they're just too fast for this division, as we've seen all season, just absolutely dominating everyone else. But there's a problem with them not being able to make the time. Hopefully they can next season, and Grid 1 is quite competitive, I must say, with people such as B-Thom and Secret all battling it out at the front, myself included, although I don't tend to score too many points. So it would be lovely to see Mango and Tano battling it out for possibly the win in Division 1, as I think I saw before at France. Mango was battling for a podium in Grid 1. So yeah, it'll be, hopefully they can make the time next season. But if not, I guess they might have to stay in Div 2, or possibly not race at all, as some of the admins are thinking about just that. Zayak still 5/10 behind Elian here, and not able to find a way past just yet. But I don't think there's going to be too many more position changes in this race. We still have 6 laps to go. Anything could happen. Plenty of mistakes left to be made, and one of them is going to be made right now. Zayak getting on the power just a bit too early on the exit of turn 2, and he slid across turn 3, and that thankfully hasn't lost him too much time. But what it has done is got himself a 10-second time penalty, and that means he has absolutely no chance of finishing inside the top 5. He needs to keep a 4-second gap to Viperize behind him, who just said in the chat there that he's struggling with the wet conditions. Vacant also said that he just made a bit of a blunder with the strategy and followed Elian and just stayed on those hard compound tires for just a bit too long. Elian has now actually caught up to Danny Stillers, although it doesn't matter too much because of the time penalty situation, or maybe it does. Elian needs to get within 6 seconds of Not to Raper if he wants to get P2 in this Grand Prix. So I think the first step would be to overtake Danny Stillers in the AlphaTauri. So it's going to be quite a close battle of time, purely time, between Elian and Not to Vapor. And it looks like Elian getting quite close to the back of Danny Stillers. Is he going to look for a move? No, he is not. So James, who do you think could be coming out on top between Elian and Not to Vapor for P2 in this race?
Elian's looking very strong in these type of conditions, so I'm hoping he's looking for a bit of move right now. He's going into turn 5. He's going to look. No, he's going to back out of it, I think. Lag. Great lag. Oh, he's going
he's
for
gone
it.
to switch back.
Is he going to make it? Is he going to make it stick around the outside up into turn 8? Oh, and he gets a penalty.
You're dead right. He's got himself a 3-second time penalty. And trying to find his way past Danny Stillers there, and Not to Vapor. You're right talking about him. He's made a mistake, and Elian getting himself that 3-second time penalty. That could have been an easy P2 for Not to Vapor, but obviously he was pushing before Elian got that penalty, so that's really muddled things up. So never doubt that there's not going to be action in Group 2 here in LSR. Elian is trying to find a way past Danny Stillers, and Desire gets himself another 3-second time penalty, now up to a devastating 19 seconds of time penalties, and he's really getting himself out there penalties-wise. Elliot now looking for a move on Danny Stillers into turn 1. He's got that move done before the braking zone, hogging that inside line. But into turn 3, that's allowed Danny Stillers to get a better exit. Doesn't look to the inside, though. Gives him a bit of a bump going into turn 3. But Elian is now up into P4. We're going to have a quick look at the gap to the leader. Currently, SL Mango with a 16.5 second lead on Electric Envy behind. A really, really big lead. And obviously, Mango, one of the fastest drivers in this division, let alone the entire league. So Electric Envy is 16.8 seconds behind. Not Sir Vapor is 10 seconds behind, so this is no longer the battle for P2. He needs to be within 5 seconds of Electric Envy if he wants to get P2, so he needs to catch 3 seconds to get that P2 position, and we'll have to see if he can do that. Currently at P3, but not P3 because Electric Envy right behind, or Elian Bine I should say, right behind him with only 3 seconds of time penalties. He needs to be within 8 seconds of Electric Envy to get that P2, and he's just about within that 8 seconds, possibly on the teetering edge. So he needs to get past Not Sir Vapor, or Not Sir Vapor really needs to start pushing here and possibly drag Elian into P2 in this race. So it's going to be quite a close battle between these drivers. Zayek, as we just flicked to him, he's just absolutely smashed into the barrier, and that has caused the safety car on lap 29 of this Portuguese Grand Prix. And that is going to hurt Electric Envy. It's going to hurt Not Sir Vapor. It's going to hurt Danny Stillers. Anyone with lots of time penalties. Mango isn't going to be massively affected unless someone goes for an optimistic dive and takes them out. But hopefully that doesn't happen. And Zayak coming into the track saying he hates the rain so much. And I can understand that.
I was hoping on him to do really well, and just the rain can kill you. And I've also noticed one thing: it stopped raining.
You're actually right with that. The rain has actually stopped with just 3 laps to go under safety car conditions, but I don't think it'll be clearing up anytime soon. So right now, SL Mango is going to catch up to the safety car. And how do you think the safety car is actually going to affect this race? Do you think anyone could be swapping positions at this late stage of the race?
Oh, if Mango's got to keep his cool, safety car, I believe, will only be out for 1 more lap. So we'll only get 1 lap of racing, so Mango will have to keep his cool, keep everything well under, as Electric Envy pits. So what's he's going on to another set of intermediates and a time penalty. But I believe if anyone could get more positions, it will most likely be Alien for 2nd place. Not So Vapor might be in 3rd or 2nd if he can just get away by 3 seconds. But it's going to be a 1-lap showdown, which is going to be the best safety car in this lap, actually.
Yeah, it's coming quite early there. And
so Elian, Electric, who pitted this lap, has lost out so many places to that, who was originally in 2nd position.
And he had the right idea and everything, serving that 5-second time penalty so he could catch up to the rest of the grid and not have as many penalties and battle it out for a podium position. But obviously on lap 31, we still need laps of racing. Mango was only just about able to catch up to the safety car, so he is now going to go as early as possible. And Not Vapor 9 seconds, 8 seconds and gaining as he was able to catch Mango off of that slow safety car restart. So Electric Envy could have been battling for a podium. because he got rid of that 5-second time penalty. Is now down to just 6 seconds, but it looks like he's only going to be able to get P5 in this race, which would have been the same case even if he didn't pit. So it looks like Electric Envy was destined to finish P5 in this race, although he might have had a chance of finishing P4 if he didn't box. Who knows what could have happened, but it looks like he'll be finishing P5 in this race, which is a shame. Looks like Not a Vapor might actually be able to get a podium after all. Him and Elian are still looking to get a podium in this race. Danny Stillers has 8 seconds of time penalty, so unless he overtakes both of them and pulls out a 2-second gap in a lap and a half, it looks like he'll be maintaining P4 in this race, as we are now getting ready to start the final lap of the Grand Prix, as Mango coming through turn 13 here. Looks like he's done this really well. He's kept it nice and consistent, has gotten 0 seconds of time penalties. Coming through the final turn now, a bit of a slide there. Lucky not to end his race. He's still pushing the limits, even though he's 7 seconds out front ahead of someone with 0 seconds of time penalties. But we now enter the final lap of the Grand Prix, which Mango has led most of, all the way from, I think, lap 10 or possibly lap 11, after starting from the very back of the grid after getting a qualifying ban from a build-up of penalty points. It looks like a yellow flag in the first sector, but that's not for anyone on the lead lap. That's Husky, who has spun at turn 3. That thankfully won't affect his position. And one thing that Zayak actually mentioned in the live chat is that Vacant's car, I think Vacant left the session, so Vacant's car is still going around as an AI car, and I think that will disqualify him from the race, meaning that Husky will finish P8 in this race. So even though he finished in last and not on the lead lap, he'll still get a decent 4 points in this race. But Mango, the track has now fully dried out, if I'm not mistaken, so it is now dry conditions, but it doesn't matter because we're on lap 33 of 33. Mango coming through turn 13 now, taking it nice and slowly, doesn't want to spin the wheels, doesn't want to make a mistake, and through the final turn, Mango is going to win the Portuguese Grand Prix and take the lead of the championship here in Group 2 in LSR as the DRS is enabled at the final second. Not a Vapor finishes P3, and on the podium, Elian is able to finish P2, and if I'm not mistaken, one of his first podiums of the season. Possibly could have gotten one at Italy at Monza, but he is going to be finishing on the podium for Ferrari. Danny Stillers, that's a very good P4 from him. Good performance from the AlphaTauri driver. Electric MV sadly finishing down in P5 after trying to go for something different with the strategy. Viperize finishing down in P6 for Alpine. Alexis Beast finishes P7. I think Vacant will be disqualified from the session for finishing under AI, so Husky will be taking home 4 points for P8, and Tano getting 0 points for DNFing in this Portuguese Grand Prix. So Mango will be taking the lead of the championship. I'm not sure if he had fastest lap or not, but if he did, he'll be 12 points in the lead. If he didn't, he'll be 11. Either way, it's a pretty decent lead going into the final round, and with Tano struggling with getting to grips with its racing wheel, Mango could have this championship in the bag. And I think Tano said a bit earlier on that he's not too fussed about the championship, although I'm not sure how you can't be too fussed about a championship. Maybe he's just won that many, but there you go. There is your driver of the day, Estelle Mango, all the way from P15 to P1 in this race. It's been a great performance from him. So James, any thoughts of yours that you'd like to add about this absolutely amazing race here in Group 2?
Well done, Mango. Just absolutely perfect. And then even slowed down, I think. I wasn't too sure on the last sector, but what a race. So, just controlled it all the way through. And as soon as he got past everyone, he could just do his own race. But Shame for Tano, who crashed it. I don't know what lap it was, but not the best of races for him, and not the best time to go onto his wheel.
Yeah, it's definitely a bit late in the game cycle and in the season. But yeah, it looks like Mango will be taking the championship. Mercedes, though, Mango hasn't had a teammate, or at least a reliable teammate, for most of the season. Mango has scored 86 of Red Bull's 102 points, whereas Mercedes has Yuki scoring, or not Yuki, sorry, his name has now been changed to Tano with 100, and his teammate Not So Vapor with 53. He's going to pick up a cheeky extra 16 points for Mercedes in the Constructors, and I don't know if Mango can pull out a mega performance, and if Not So Vapor and Tano really struggle in the next race, he could even be looking at what would essentially be a solo Constructors Championship in Season 2, which I'm sure he wouldn't, he'd be happy enough with, you'd have to say. So, once again, Group 2 here in LSR delivers with some more amazing action, but that is going to be the end of this Portuguese Grand Prix and the end of tonight's stream. Make sure to check in 2 weeks' time here on the LGE channel so that you don't miss the season finale at Brazil and the championship battle between Tano and Mango going to the final round of the season. I hope to see you all in 2 weeks' time, and thank you, James, for joining me to commentate.
I'm happy I was here to witness that race.
Yeah, it was an absolutely stunning race. So, goodbye, everyone.